It's Friday, December 19th, and I had a few questions on some of the videos I posted about the klx230 versus the 300. And I decided I'm just going to do a little different kind of video. And I will talk about the 230S, which is what I've got, and compare it to the klx300, which I had and rode for over 2 seasons. So it's a cold, wet, rainy day outside. And so I pulled both my motorcycles into the main part of the garage. And with that, I'll get myself situated and we'll just have a little discussion about this klx230S and the klx300. Okay, I feel a little bad about doing this right now because my wife works out here in the garage. This is her glass working shop. And unlike me, she actually makes money selling her fused glass artwork on Etsy. So hopefully, hopefully she can ignore me while I do this. Okay, so I did write out some notes on this. It's on an iPad, and I will go through this. Hopefully I've set this camera up so you can see the KLX okay. I don't care if you see the Tiger. This is about the KLX. And so with that, I'll start out. And I'll start out with talking about myself just a little bit. This is the perspective of a 72-year-old former racer who's had 3 joint replacements. So my background, I began riding motorcycles at age 14. I managed to sneak some rides on friends' little mini bikes and such at younger ages too, but I actually bought one at age 14. Didn't start racing until, drum roll, age 46. I rode all those years up to then, and did lots of trail riding, street riding, both. But I didn't get the real urge to go racing until 46. You know, call it a midlife crisis or whatever. I just realized if I was going to do it, I better get after it because I thought I was a pretty good rider. I found out when I started racing initially that I was nowhere near as good as I thought. But after 6 years of racing, I actually did get into the A class of the AMA and raced enduros. Okay, so for a 6-year period, I raced every race in AMA District 16, which was kind of Wisconsin, Minnesota, Indiana, Illinois, some areas like that. And that's when injuries didn't stop me. Injuries were a problem through that period, but I raced most of the races. I stopped at age 51 after many injuries. I don't regret the racing, though. I think it was one of the more fun things I've done in my life, and I really, really improved my riding skills. Also, I have lots of street riding experience, including what I'd call spirited riding with former road racing friends, and lots of touring with Joline as my passenger. Currently, I ride very conservatively. What can I say? I'm 72. I don't want any more injuries. Due to doctor's advice, I'm avoiding high-impact activities to hopefully extend the lifespan of my artificial joints. The left ankle's been replaced. My right knee has been replaced twice now. Okay, now on to the 300 versus the 230. I bought a new 2023 klx300 Dual Sport and rode it 2 seasons before I sold it. And my main reason for doing that is my right knee was just killing me and it made it really hard to ride. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to ride dirt ever again. Basically 7 months ago, I had the right knee replaced again. And that's called a revision when you do that. It's a much harder surgery, longer surgery, and it takes long to recover from. But after 7 months, I got to feeling a lot better. And I guess I'm incurable. I got this itch to do a little more dirt-oriented things than what I could do on the Tiger. And so I started looking around at bikes. I didn't really want to go back to a klx300. Been there, done that. And the klx230S in particular looked very attractive to me. So I bought one about 2.5 weeks ago. The weather has been unusually warm. As a result, I've put over 250 miles on it in the last 2.5 weeks, got it past that break-in period, and I've actually just yesterday did some speed testing on it, so I'll report on that also. So I've made some modifications to the klx230, much the same as the modifications I made on my klx300. So I mean, it's about even there. So the bikes were equipped about the same way. And I'm going to cut to the chase, and I'm going to talk about, for this review, who I think these bikes are really aimed at. And there is a lot of overlap between them. Keep that in mind. But in the process of talking about who these bikes are aimed at, again, I'll talk a little bit about what I think about the bikes and how well they work. klx300ds, number one, taller riders. I'm 5'7" with a 29-inch inseam. The 300 was tall for me. I lowered it an inch and it was still tall. Again, I'm lightweight compared to the average American male, which I understand these days is 200 pounds. And so a 200-pounder would compress the suspension a lot more, and maybe somebody that's my height would do okay on it. But I think it would be better for taller riders. I'm not going to say how tall, but again, I'm 5'7", 29-inch inseam, and for me, even lowering it, the bike was tall. Okay, many reviewers felt the suspension was soft. When I've looked at the reviews on the 300ds, I never did, keeping in mind I weigh 145 pounds. I don't weigh 200 pounds. Now, who else might this be good for? Shorter riders, my height, and maybe even shorter. I've seen people 5'4" riding full height, full-size dirt bikes. It can be done. So if you're agile enough to hook one leg over the seat to get a foot down so you can come to a stop, power to it. I could do that when I was younger. Okay, faster, more aggressive riders. Now, obviously, you got your KTMs, Huskies. You know, there's a wide range of bikes out there that are kind of hardcore, faster bikes. But still, faster riders would enjoy the klx300 dual sport, not just the R version. Okay, I took it easy on this bike, but I saw it have potential. And keep in mind, I do have a racing background. I can't do that anymore thanks to age and joints and so forth, but I know what it takes to make a bike handle well at speed on trails. Now, I've seen YouTube videos of riders actually racing the klx300 dual sport, not just the R version, and doing quite well on it. So I saw one person doing, I think it was a hare scramble on it. I saw other people doing kind of enduro-style racing on it, and actually placing quite high on it. I mean, if you're a really top rider, you can do well on a klx300 dual sport, keeping in mind that if you're a top rider, you'd rather be on that more competitive bike anyway. However, it can be done. And keep in mind, rider skill means more than the so-called high-performance bike. You know, if you don't have the riding skills, a high-performance bike is just going to bite you. It's just going to hurt you. Lower performance bike you'll actually do better on, and a really top rider could do well on relatively low performance bikes. I've seen that myself, personally, in many situations. If you like tuning your suspension, the klx300 lets you do that. It's got compression, rebound, as well as preload on the rear shock, and you can have a lot of fun messing around with that. I did quite a bit, and I think I got it dialed in pretty well for myself, and so keep that in mind. Now, the 300 has a very mellow power delivery, which is suitable for a beginner, if you're tall enough for it, with enough higher RPM power to let an advanced rider have fun on it. So it's kind of, you know, it's got a lot of good characteristics. It's very tractable at low speeds on trails and challenging forest roads, and we have lots of those around Mount Shasta. I didn't really go all that fast on the bike, but I have seen videos of people in the dirt going at very impressive speeds over very tough trails with this. It can be done. Now, it has enough power to hold 70 miles per hour on highways, up hills, with a light rider. I mean, I can't speak for somebody who weighs 200 pounds. Typical nervous dual sport handling at highway speeds, though. Keep that in mind. The 230 will be the same way. I don't remember the gas mileage I got, but I remember it was always over 50 miles per gallon and sometimes over 60. Kind of depends on how fast you go and how you handle that throttle. Gas tank holds 2 gallons. There are no real aftermarket large gas tank options due to how the frame and tank interact. So if you really want to do some long rides with it, you know, maybe you could strap on some extra gas packs or something, but you'd have to think about doing things like that. It's got a water-cooled 25 horsepower engine, more complex than the 230 motor, which is air-cooled, but it's still pretty basic. And of course, it's fuel injected. Now onto the klx230s, and I'll say ABS. I mean, mine has ABS, but honestly, in the 250 plus miles that I've ridden it, I have not felt that ABS kick on. So it's a very unobtrusive ABS, which is only obviously going to kick on in the most dire of circumstances. And I've braked pretty hard a few times, but no signs whatsoever of that ABS kicking on. So I'm thinking we'll see. Maybe when I get into some deeper sand and silt and things like that, the ABS might be an issue, but so far it hasn't been. I think I would be riding it most of the time on the places I ride with the ABS on. Easy to turn it off, though. 230s, obviously it's aimed towards shorter riders. Yay, I haven't had to lower this bike. I'm a 145-pounder, 5'7", 29-inch inseam, and I can get the balls of both feet on the ground at the same time. That's after the suspension compresses, because it feels a little tall when you first swing your leg over it, but even at my weight, the suspension compresses. I can't quite flat-footed, but I'm close. I'd also say it's for riders who want to minimize high-speed highway riding. It's just not made for that. I'll talk about what you can do, but you wouldn't want to do very much highway riding. I tested it yesterday at highway speeds up a steep hill into the wind, 800 vertical feet ascent over maybe 3 or 4 miles. It held an indicated 60 miles per hour all the way, but it was tapped out. And it didn't matter if it was in 5th or 4th gear. It wasn't a matter of revving it out. It just ran out of power at 60 going up a steep hill into the wind. Okay, so that's kind of extreme. Now, coming back down, I saw an indicated 75 miles an hour on the speedometer. It was kind of flipping between 74 and 75. And it was like the motor was cutting out a little bit. And I think it was probably the rev limiter doing that. It hit 75, the rev limiter cut in, you dropped to 74, and then it cut out, and you'd be back up to 75, and it's just kind of bouncing back and forth between that. Didn't do it very long, but that's what it was. I also had a GPS with me, and the GPS said my max speed on the ride was 70.3, which tells me that that indicated 75 was really, around 70. So as often is the case with these bikes, it's about 5 miles an hour too optimistic when you get to that 70 mile an hour range. Still, it would do 70 miles an hour, and I think that is top speed on the 230. The klx300 will maintain 70 mile an hour speed, and I never did it, but I saw many places where people said they'd got it up to 80. So, it's a faster bike. It can do higher speeds if you're doing highways. You still don't want to do it very long on the klx300. It's nervous. It just doesn't feel that comfortable going at those speeds, but it can do it. Where the 230, 55, that's indicated 60. I think you could pretty much do that uphill, downhill, just about anywhere. And if you want to hit that 70 mile an hour speed, you're going to be absolute redlined, maxed out on it, and you won't do it uphill. It's only going to be maybe at best flat with a tailwind or maybe downhill. I think you could probably do 65 in places if you weren't going up a steep hill like I was, but it's really not designed for going fast on highways. Now, in my case, I expect that I will be riding it on that same highway I tested it on, because there's some areas over there I want to get to. It's not that many miles, maybe 4 or 5 miles to get to the top of the hill, and coming down the hill, I'm sure I can do 65, and that's what the speed limit on the road is. And that'll get me on to the kind of places that I want to do some other riding on that bike. So, it'll get a little highway use, but I'm going to minimize that. It's mainly for forest roads, or they could be paved, but lower speed roads. Oh, a side note, the bike was very smooth at that top speed. It's extremely well counterbalanced. I felt almost no vibration through the foot pegs or through the handlebars. I can't quite remember on the klx300, but I don't think it was quite that smooth. I'm pretty sure there was more vibration. Now, who else? Anybody interested in trail riding? The suspension feels good off-highway on the dirt roads on the speeds that I've gone so far. I've got a video showing going over some water bars and getting the front wheel off the ground. No, I did not jump, but I was just feeling a little frisky and got the front wheel up just a little bit, and I thought it was great fun. I have not bottomed the suspension. Keep in mind I'm a lighter weight rider, but I think I could probably do small jumps on it and probably not bottom that suspension, but will I ever find out? I don't know, maybe. Again, I'm not supposed to do high impact stuff on my knee. Anyway, you could start racing enduros at the C level on the 230. If you're in the C class, the beginner class, you would probably progress to, or want to progress to, a little more competitive, faster bike. But I've seen people racing very old Honda XR200 bikes at races years ago. Look like they're having fun. I think you could have fun on this 230 also. And keep in mind there's an R version if you didn't want one that is street legal, which would be a lighter weight, better bike for doing that. But this DS, I think, could do it also. I think it would be fun at the beginner level, enduro races, and keeping in mind, you're trying to compete with the people on their Huskies and KTMs and such. Now, the 230, all flavors of the klx230, have a 4-gallon aftermarket gas tank available that I've seen. I don't know that I would ever do that, but if you wanted to do longer rides, that 2-gallon gas tank could be overcome by putting on that 4-gallon aftermarket tank. You'd have a long range doing that. Now, it's a fuel-injected air-cooled engine, 17 horsepower. It's going to be, well, there's no question, it'll be easier to maintain than the klx300. Not that that's particularly hard either, but anyway, it would be easier. Now, both bikes, good around town if you're tall enough for them. consider the klx230 Sherpa S if the 230S seems too tall. I mean, that's an option. It's got less suspension. I think it's not going to be quite as good on the trails, but boy, if the height is an issue to you, and that implies you're lighter yet, I mean, the bike might be just fine. I've seen good reviews on it. Now, the small 2-gallon gas tanks on both bikes means that you're going to be nervous about riding them more than 100 miles without gassing them up. And maybe the range on the 230 would be better. I mean, I did see 93 miles per gallon on one fill-up, but I've had 2 other fill-ups that were around 76. Still, though, I think it's going to have better range than what the 300 has, even on the same 2 gallons. Both are reliable. And with that, I think they're both excellent bikes. I think the 230, looks very cool. I thought the 300 looked cool also. I like the all-green color. I think I like it a little better than the 300, where it had the white side plates and the white front plate over the headlight. This might sound heretical, but the rides I've done so far, actually, I think I might be enjoying the 230S more than I did the 300. I like the low height on it. The power delivery just seems excellent to me. Now, the 300 was too, but I did not need that extra power that it had. And the 230, although the weight on the bike is only about 9 pounds lighter than the 300, it feels much lighter because I think it carries the weight lower. The air-cooled engine, you don't have the radiators up top. You don't have that double overhead cam. I think it's got a single overhead cam. Anyway, the weight seems lower on it. I think it's a little easier to lift it. And if you put it over on the side, well, in summary, all I can say is that I'm really enjoying the klx230S. I think the klx300 was an excellent motorcycle. Also, I think the klx230S, where I am in my life right now, actually suits me better than the 300. And I think lots of people at any age could have a great time on the 230S. I think it'd be a good beginner bike. Better than the 300 just because it's lower to the ground. You get that foot down a little easier if you have to. And I think you can go quite a ways with the 230 in your riding skills as you progress. I think there's a lot you could do with it. I think even advanced riders could have fun on it. If you're an advanced rider, you probably wouldn't race it, but I think you'd have a great time trail riding it. That's about all I have to say about the 2 bikes.